Oh, really?
It's
You're listening to having a good time.
No,
Anytime
it's
I
like,
see this happen.
Excuse me.
yeah.
And make sure, last time, Evan, make sure,
Yeah.
this is good, but point it to, that people can see when it's off, rather than, you know what I mean? Even though,
Should I turn it around then?
yeah, or you think so, or maybe to myself,
turn it
that
around.
way, for myself, I can see.
Yeah. Or do you want to see yourself?
And then that way,
Okay. So I'll turn this.
what do you think? Or that you guys can see it? No.
Yep. There we go. That's better.
Aaron,
You got it.
Oh, that's what I read.
there's rubber bands there to make.
Oh,
Put the
I'm gonna
rubber
put them
on
on
these,
that.
put them on so at least they don't fall off and don't break.
Sure.
And if that's not a good, I have another,
Yeah, it works. It's good.
clip that, if that's not a good one, Evan,
Oh, it's good. Perfect.
perfect.
Yeah.
But if drop it doesn't sound perfect to me.
Oh, that one.
It's good. I want a position that we see this board and then we see me. So at least we can have that, okay? And is it broadcasting already?
When is the show? How much is that? You think I have it? Is that fun?
That's okay. So make sure that it's live and you probably know.
Okay.
We should see from here to the end without the.
And then the other person, forget it. You're missing the phone.
September 12th, right? Yes.
Alright, relax. He's done that all.
I got the new scar suppressed on nice with it. I got that grappling. Oh my god, did you see my third? With the gauntlet? 2 in the morning. I said it was better with tweet, Okan, and trash. Actually, tweet is not on it. Tweet. What's his name? Tweet. His thing, his gamer tag is tweet. So it's gonna happen. They just be able to have it. So pictures will be popping.
Steve, 5,117. Ready? Put this away.
June got a crayon. Change to the leggings. Our whole name depends on that.
Yo, like, I really wish I was in that chat.
It's just annoying.
I just said he literally was recording.
Dude, but that's just boring. 'Cause
They said it's not supposed to be on this one. Like, it's not work that well.
I only do off-campus tasks because they're easier and you get more.
Finally.
I have 40 points in every fucking weeks.
I have put it in right now, but I want.
Where are you going
The most out of my PC.
I don't know, they look the same. Mine's the, I cannot tell
So
you.
like last week I had 95 pounds top three.
Who's top?
They didn't say more. I mean, they said in the order, but the motions, like the same amount of
Yeah,
points.
they were saying, they'll be able to like say that you're
Oh,
on
like
one.
me, Harrison, and
And so they'll say,
no, they just fucking. But that whole thing, like you have quiet through so
well, no, I need to like, I was really sure because they're
Andre, you look at it.
I'm not so bad for insurance. So you can see how it will be on it.
Adam, man, you know how many points he had? I told you.
How many did they have?
Adam had 8 points. He didn't say. God, he had 8 points.
Oh, everybody have their name tags, let's get them.
But like,
Oh, this thing like that's good.
I didn't go. You made it this week.
No, nothing new from the other weeks.
No one
I've been on my game. I'm studying it this week. Today I was studying.
And then, find what's the new phone. Apple phone. Let's go over the properties with everybody. Good idea? What?
that's not the biggest
Just
deal.
gotta find out about like what's new in the phones, what's new in the watches. Find out. You know, we can use that as,
Yeah, because the iOS system's coming out, iOS. Honestly, I'm over after the one that blows up. I forgot about that. No, they
It's a good man.
No, he's missing the grass. I've seen him go.
Renew iPhone?
I'm getting it.
Renew iPhone?
This is brutal. Dude, this is brutal. This phone is broken.
Renew iPhone. Renew iPhone is an Apple Watch that if you fold it around, it goes.
No. No. It's still
You fall on the ground and are unstable for a minute, it calls emergency.
So why don't you just drop your fucking sheet for a minute? I can't find it. 911.
No, it definitely senses.
Hey guys, I just lost my watch. I need video.
I'm getting it.
Alright, that sounds good. Why are you getting it? You're already getting it. What is it, 8?
Like I said,
I'm getting the big one now.
yeah. And she
These guys make so much money. It's 2,000 easy. I'm gonna buy like an asshole.
This morning, it's the
Look at what? I'm due for an upgrade anyway, so.
Okay. So who doesn't have their name tags out? Bring your name tags out. Let's start. I know.
And there's another one that comes
And
with
it's better days. All right, you're in the front, so I can see. Okay. Jackie, you have your name tag? Let's go. Andre?
No.
Okay, so let's get one. All right,
Gotta get a new
let's
one.
do this. What came out today? iPhones, right? So let's figure out then, in terms of the iPhones, you want to move it down then a little bit, really? Yeah. So we got here, basically we have so first of all we have the iPhone. What do they call it? The XR, XS, and XS Max, right? It says that it has. What is this right here? That line there, what does that mean?
Storage.
The storage, is that gonna be, where is that? Is that internal to the phone? Is that removable storage, internal storage? Everybody understand my question? Just gotten over a cold, so let's see how my voice can handle it. Okay, what do you think?
Internal?
Internal storage, is it removable?
No.
No, so it's not removable. Some phones have removable storage that you can store on the SD. This is gonna be internal. So basically, the larger one, it goes up to what? 512, right? And then there's the pricing here for US, right? And then let's go on your iPhone X, Mac quick specs. There's 2 sizes. Just stop a minute. There's dual cameras, 12 megapixels, right? Front-facing camera. And then read that A12 Bionic chip. Can you do that for me, Randy?
7-nanometer processor comes to launch app 30% faster than 2017 iPhone.
Right, so what are they talking about there? What is that? You remember when we talked about it in the hardware section? What is that? That's the processor, right? So that's the processor. That's like what? The CPU that we talked about, the central processing unit, right? So that's the central processing unit. And what are they trying to do here? That it's going to be 7 nanometers, that it's very, very, very thin and small, and it's going to be 30% faster. Storage options we talked about, water resistant, battery life, dual SIM cards. Why would you want a dual SIM card? Any ideas?
You travel out of the country?
Travel out of the country, and then what's that going to help me with? If I travel out of the country?
So you don't have to roam, you can just use the.
Yeah, I don't need roaming, right? I can just do those regular ones where I could do it. Possibly I could also use the other SIM maybe for data, but I can do dual SIM. That'll be Face ID. What's Face ID good for? Security, right? When I'm gonna be looking at security, that's gonna be good. Okay? What else? What type of operating system does it have? iOS 12. So we talked about an OS, an operating system. What's the definition then of an operating system? Who can tell me? With the keys to the Mercedes today. Who's operating system? Who cares what operating system it is? Vanessa, what's an operating system?
It's a software that supports a computer's basic functions. So just like scheduling tasks.
Right, it's basically, can you run any type of computer or phone without an operating system? No, though it's basically when you're gonna save a file, when you're gonna upload, when you're gonna download. So in this case, it allows the system, who then installs that. The manufacturer then installs it. Which types they have, we can have operating systems of, then does my Apple phone then have the same operating system as your laptop?
Yeah. No.
No.
No, what is your operating system of your Mac have?
Sierra.
Maybe Sierra, maybe different operating system. So my laptop, eventually, that would be nice, wouldn't it, Vanessa, that my phone would have the same operating system on my laptop, but it does not now. It has a different why, because it still is functioning differently, your laptop, as it is your phone, but eventually it may do that. And then what else? Go down. They have everything announced, so they have the phone. What else? Go down. And then they have phones, cheaper phones they have with different, it'll have a different screen. It won't have OLED, but it'll have an LED. Go down, and here, I think we've gone down there. This is developing storing, and then they have the Apple event. Okay, and then they had this watch. Anybody see about their watch? What's unique about their watch?
If you fall, they can detect that you're falling.
If you fall, it'll detect whether you fall. It's almost like that thing, have you ever seen it with grandma falling and it says, I can't get up, and then she has a little buzzer, right? So you give grandma now an Apple Watch, and when she falls, it'll call you and 911. What else does it have? Anyone else see anything else that they have? Here's the watch.
The Hermes one.
It basically is trying to do health apps in it. So if you look at it, John, when we think about it, it has all the health apps here, right? They have different colors that make it pretty and so forth. But did we get any specs here? No, they didn't tell us any specs. But basically, they'll be able to see EKGs. You'll be able to see then your heartbeats. You'll be able to see basically like health apps that'll be like a lot of things that you have, like my Fitbits and other things, that not only the tracking, but it'll start having more health created with them, okay? So it's started. I think you still need it can't operate as a phone by itself. I think you still need your phone, right? When you're using it. I don't think you can operate your phone by, see, emergency SOS, looks like you've taken a hard fall. I fell, but I'm okay. Help, I can't get up, I fell. Okay. All right, any other questions here? What else do we need to do? Anything else? I'm gonna start. Broadcast. Anything else that you want to comment? No, that's it? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we got that part. We can combine the two here. Let's go to, let's see here. Let's see if we can see something in the laptop. See if this will work. Okay, so let's go to courses. And let's talk about just, some housekeeping. So we're in the fall. What do I need to do? I'm going to go to the regular BTJ fundamentals. I'll go to assignments. And what do we have? Chapter 1 was overview. TG1 was hardware. TG2 was software. We had Chapter 4, which is security, which was due today. Next Monday, we're going to do Chapter 5, which is data. So let me make that available to you. So I'm going to edit the test options. And what do I need to do? I need to make the test available, and we'll make it 2 attempts, okay? And we'll submit. And what is your choice here? Do you see it? Yes, no? Do you see it available?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, good. So you see it available, and that is due on Monday. shelves. We'll go to the books and see what we have in the books. We'll do an assignment today that'll be due on Monday that will look at some data. We'll do some practice for some data analytics. How many people have Windows laptops here? Anyone? Anyone have a Windows laptop? It's all Mac. Okay, you have a Windows laptop. All right, so let's go to information systems. And let me just tell you a couple of things here. Let me just scroll back. You should know, for instance, in chapter 2, for the exam as well, you should know the chapter glossary. So we went over what was application software. We went over computer programs. We'll do that more today. Documentation, we went over graphical user interface. Open source software we'll go over today. Operating systems, software speech recognition as well. So, let's start with an example of open source software. And let me just make sure. Under course documents, let's go to course documents, go to PowerPoint. We have something called automated trading systems. You should have that in your PowerPoints. We'll do an overview of some of the software. Plus, what we'll do is we'll talk about algorithmic software trading systems, and we'll do an exercise for today, and I'll give you an assignment for Monday. And once we have Monday, since we won't have class on Wednesday, I'll give an additional one. So we'll go step by step because we're going to do agile development, right? And what's agile development? Who can tell me? Taking small tasks together, right? Checking to see if it works, seeing what the problems are, and moving on to the next task. Rather than giving a large project and waiting to the end and then see we have problems. So we're going to do it in our homework assignments. We do the same thing. Just like we asked you to do the screencasting, we asked you to do the web conferencing, we went back and did it together. Okay? So, we're always dealing with data, and that's what we're going to be covering today and next week on big data. And what's the difference between data and big data? One is teeny, one is big. What's the difference? Anybody hear about it before? Big data? Who's heard about it? Evan, have you heard about big data?
Yeah, just like companies like Google using your information to.
Okay, so what is Google doing in terms of big data? What is Amazon doing in terms of big data? Why don't we Google it, right, and do, for instance, big data and Google, or big data and Amazon, or big data and Microsoft? And what do we find?
They're collecting it and.
They're collecting it. Of course they're collecting it, right? Does Google get any information on you when you go to Google and you surf? When you're doing your email, does Amazon get any data from you when you're going on their website? So what do we find out then?
They like use the cloud. They like use cloud-based software to connect like things you search or basically anything you do to things that you might like, just to promote their business and basically so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, when we're dealing with big data, what's the difference from regular is we're looking for patterns and data mining to our data, patterns that we weren't familiar with before. And usually what we do is many times even we do like hypothesis testing and say, I think, or I want to find out about my customer. What do they have a tendency to buy? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? You think about that all the time in marketing. We're doing this in big data. And the idea, why is it big data? Because it's so easy to gather data. Before, I didn't have to go door to door and knock on the door of Madeline and say, Madeline, you want to take the survey? I don't even have to have you take a survey. What do I have to do? Is you go onto my website, you go onto my proprietary software, and what do I see? Vanessa, I know exactly where you've been, right? Think about it even on these phones, right? Think about even Apple, and now they're going to be able to see who fell. Think about that, right? Now maybe I can sell somebody who falls all the time. I can sell it to who would I sell that to? I could sell it to drug manufacturers and, for people that are losing their balance, right? Then I can sell it to people along the way. So what they've covered here in using big data is now what I talked about last time is we have what we call automated algorithmic software trading systems, and you can even use those trading systems and those applications for robots. So what we can have here is robots along the way, where I try to encourage, there's always this thing of, the Me Too movement. People have ever heard of that? Yes, right? About we want to get women more in business, women more in tech, and this was women-led companies they found perform 3 times better than a woman from Pepsi this year is retiring. So you think we have more than 5%, we say to ourselves, we have more than 5% here in the class, right, that are in business. So what happens along the way? And then you say, well, maybe there's differences here, and how can you encourage it? And my contention, it really doesn't matter if you can perform. A lot of times, all this software and all this algorithmic trading is the idea behind it is there rules, and who can write the rules is everyone can write the rules. So we have to first go back to a definition of what's an algorithm. An algorithm, then, is a specific set of clearly defined instructions aimed to carry out a task or a process. So what I'm going to be teaching you today, and you're going to be along the semester, is how to write algorithmic software. In order to write algorithmic software, you need first to understand what instructions need to be done. And the computer, in the past, they have to get instructions very specifically. A lot of times we make inferences as human beings. The computer right now, when you're giving it specific defined instructions, needs to have those instructions clearly done. So what we're going to do first of all is learn how to write those instructions and then learn how to automate it. Everybody with me? So an automated trading is a process of using computers programmed to then follow a defined set of instructions for placing, in this case, a trade in order to generate profits. Later on, we'll add to that what we call artificial intelligence. And the idea of the artificial intelligence, what's the difference about a computer program and artificial intelligence? Everybody understand my question? AJ, what's the question?
Artificial intelligence is like how different programs or software reacts to different things that kind of how a brain would work. Well, like
How are we different than this piece of wood?
can think.
We can think, and what you're supposed to be doing here is we can
Learn. AI can learn.
So AI, artificial intelligence, why is it saying artificial? Because it's basically a human being is training a computer to start thinking and basically start learning. And the whole idea of traditional programs, if I have a mistake in my program and I run it the 50th time, will it be different than running it the first time, AJ?
Yes. Because it'll learn from its mistakes.
If it's a regular program.
Oh, no, it won't.
It'll keep on
It'll
running.
do the
So
same thing.
supposedly, what I'm gonna embed in a program, and what it's supposed to do is based on that it doesn't get it quite right, that there are errors in that it will start to self-correct. Did your mother ever tell you, for instance, it's okay to make mistakes, right? But the whole idea is, what is she always saying to you? It's, did you want to learn from your mistakes? Not, it's always good to make mistakes because then we can learn from it and get better. So it's the same thing in the agile processing development. If we have mistakes, we want to correct it as we go along. So that's the idea when we're doing it. And of course, do you think, AJ, in trading system, it's going to get it correct 100%?
No.
No way. But what do we want to do is we want to decrease those errors. Everybody with me? So we want to decrease those errors, and we have two types of automated trading systems. We have high frequency trading strategies, and high frequency means what, Evan?
It happens a lot over a specific amount of time.
So instead of once a day, those traders in let's say in 5 minutes, how many trades could possibly go on? Thousands. Even in microseconds, those can happen, and those trading robots then can continue with it. And what we have then is we have monitoring systems that will trigger then some type of massive structure and fluctuations. So we'll be able to do this in a concise advantage. So those advantages of automated trading systems is that it'll minimize emotions. Sometimes what happens in trading is people get too overly excited and they get their emotions take the best of them. And what we can do is we can back test or test on historical data before we actually risk our money. We can preserve our discipline, and we can do diversified trading. Okay, everybody with me? So far, so good? The disadvantage is that if my computer goes down, anybody ever have a problem with their hard disk, had a problem with electricity going down, what happens to my automatic trading system? I can lose a lot of money. I have to have power loss. That's why a lot of times I can have my cloud. Losses can come more quickly because if it's trading then high frequency in a wrong pattern, Evan, what can happen is I can lose my millions quicker than if I slowly put that in, right? That the system can get me in, and can get me in, and I can lose quicker. So what I'm going to show you today, and what I'd like you to do, is start looking at some data and see how we can analyze it. Okay? So, let me go to my email. Let me see if I got something here. Okay. So what do we see here? Any idea what I see here? Sam, what do you see here?
It's a chart of Apple's
Right, it's,
stock price from August 7th, 2018. I guess currently is September 12th, and it goes through
Yeah.
for 2 months.
right, and what does the trend line look like?
Slight upward trend.
Yeah, so it looks like a slight upward trend. And the whole idea is we have two ways to look at this, and you can put this in your notes. We have something, when we're looking at data, we have something what we call back test. And then was something else that we call forecast. Forward testing. And then in this chart right here is I have a model of a linear and a polynomial forecast. So what I'd like you to do for homework is to download some text stocks and to do an analysis, and let's see what we can see as the current trend and also to forecast. And what we're going to do is we're going to do that together. How does that sound? We'll do it together, and then you can take it, and those that when we have issues, we can talk about it on the next time we meet. Okay? So this is what I want to show here. Right? And let's begin. So I need to get data. So where can I get data? I can get data from a lot of different sources. Where can I get financial data? Anybody have any ideas?
Yahoo Finance.
What?
Yahoo Finance.
Yahoo Finance is a good one, Dan. So let's go to, let's then look at Yahoo Finance. Everybody, you can do it with me, or you can take notes along the way. So we want to go to finance.yahoo.com. Okay? So let's make a little note here on my little pad here. Right? So we want to go to Yahoo. We want to go to finance. Right? .yahoo. And I want to look for some tech stocks, and basically we can do this. We'll do it individually, and then we'll do it as a group. Right? So everybody will at least do a couple of stocks. And then what we'll do is together we'll upload a couple of things and see how we do, and we'll make it to look somewhat similar. So let's start with, doesn't matter, I'm going to start with, and you can do another one, I'm going to start with Microsoft. I don't know, I'm going to search for Microsoft, and we see, what do we see? We see after hours it was going down. It went 42%, right? And I can see a month. Let me look at how it looks in a month data. So I guess, it's really difficult in this case. It looks like around in, from August to, I guess, if we look back test, around September it looked pretty good, and then it went down, right? And then it started going up. Right? So the question is what is it going to do tomorrow? What's it going to do next week? So what I want to be able to do is I want to try to figure out then what this stock will look like. So I have it, I look at the summary as a 1 month, right? And then you see where it says historical data? You can put that in your notes, because you're gonna need to do this. So under historical data, I'm gonna go to historical data. Right. And under historical data, you see where it says download data? It says msft.csv. Everybody see that? Do you see it when you download it? It says msft.csv. So what does .csv mean? Comma separated values. Everybody hear that? It's saying CSV stands for comma separated values. And what's my next question then? Who cares, right? And who cares? What does that mean? What's the equivalent? That means a CSV means that my data is taken column at a time with something to separate it that it's easy for any program to read it. So this is a standard operating system of a comma separated value. And I'm going to look at this right here, and it says I'll just say show in folder. And in my folder, it seems to have a symbol as what? It says right here, it looks like it's Excel. Excel can read that right away. So I'm going to click on Microsoft here and see if my Excel will read it. So my Excel is opening up. And I want to expand this. And for my column, what I want to do then, you see your format cells? I want to do date, and just to be, I want it to be, so I know what day of the week it is. I'm just going to do it this way, okay? So since I need to be able to just tell them, I'm going to say okay. All right, and then I'm just going to spread this out. Right, so I have here my dates. And what else I want to do is I'm going to just insert a line here, just to make sure that I have this correctly. And I'm going to insert this line, and I'm going to make sure that I have here, that I know what's the date that it took it from. 8 dash, what was it? Today's date is what? The 13th? 12th, right? So it's 8 dash the
9/12/18.
right, 9/12/18, right? Thank you. Extra credit. 9/12, then 18, and then I'm going to make it Microsoft. I'll make it caps. MFST. Okay, then I know where it came from, and I may even later on, what I could do is I could go back and close this, right? And even what I could do, just so I know, I could even then put it to my graphic here. I could even take my URL, copy my URL. I could put it right here, and then I could put it in here, and just then put my URL and put right at the end, I put an enter key there, MFST, and then enter, and make it a hyperlink, okay? Now, I just want a chart from my date and my open, and I just want to do, I'll just do this amount. Since I looked at it as 1 month, I'm just going to do 1 month. Later on, I can do more than I did, but I'm just going to do from that 1 month. So I want to do my date, and I'll do my open, and I want to highlight it. Now I want to create a chart. So I'm going to go to Insert. And there's a whole bunch of charts, right? I have line charts. I have scattergrams. I have bar, you see this? I have pivot. I'm going to do my line chart, and among my line chart, so just put in your notes that insert a line chart. And I want to align with markers. So I want to insert line chart with markers. Okay. So I have my line chart. I want to insert my line chart. Let me move it a little bit. And in this case, I can make it a little bit here. And now once I have my line chart, we can see this is the open, these are the dates, these are the prices, and we can see that in this case, this is basically how my chart is with my lines. So the first thing that I want to do in terms of forecasting, I want to basically add what I call a trend line. So I want to add a trend line. So I'm just going to go to my chart. I'm going to highlight one of the points in my chart, which is a series. And what should I look for? Claudine, what should I look for? Add trend line. Very good. So I'm going to add a trend line. And when I look at my trend lines, I have a lot of options, right? Remember last time we were talking about, and we'll look at it more, about those simple moving averages. And so we have moving averages. But let's think about something, what we want to do just simply, and we want to do a linear moving average. So what should I click then? I have linear right away, right? And you can see here, it's pointed to my linear, which is by default here my linear. This is in blue. So this is kind of like flat here that we can see. And now when I want to go down, I want to forecast forward. So where should I look for, Claudine?
Where it says forward.
Right. It says forecast. Either I can do backward, and backward would be like what word? Back test. We want to do what? What's going to be next week? And then we're going to see then, Evan, what we're going to try to do is refine our algorithm and have our algorithm do what? Improve each time and reduce the errors. So in this case, we can decide, and periods would be like days, because we downloaded what? Not high frequency data in this case, Evan, but what? Daily data. We just did the open, we could have done the close, we could have done a different thing, end of day. We just did the open because it was just easy right in there in the front. But since it's daily, each period would then be equivalent to what? A day. So let's think about it. Let's think today is Wednesday, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So let's think about 5 or 6 periods. So let's do 6 periods. Okay, now, what we also wanted to get was I want to display the equation on the chart, and I want to display R square value on the chart. Everybody hear what I said? What did I say?
Display the equation and display R squared.
Right. So I can see then the equation, and then I can start improving. So I'm going to set it up as display equation on the chart, right? And display the R square on the chart. And let me just move this open. I'm just going to move that here. And let me move this so I can see right here. So I can see then the R square of this case is what? What's the number, Madeline? The R square is equal to what? 0.22. R square has a value of what to what? Anybody know? R square basically will tell me how much error I have in the model, or how well the model fits. It goes from 0 to 1. So almost 0% to 100%. Yes, Matt?
Can you show how you got that R squared again on that side?
Right through here. Just it was that part where I did.
I don't see it on my map.
Does anyone else see it on their map? The R square?
Format trend line, so if you click on the trend line on the right, it's just the format trend line app.
Oh.
And then
Okay.
all the way at the bottom, it says display R squared.
Oh, you already got
Everybody got it? Help each other, folks.
Yeah. So that's for format.
Help each other. Sit next to each other and help each other. Matt,
Yeah.
move next. Did you get it? He got it. So move, Matt, move, or help each other. That's the whole beauty, right? It's all out. Nobody was born with this stuff. And then once you get confidence, you know how to do it, and you say, you can show somebody else. Yes.
So our homework is to pick any.
Right, let's finish. Yeah, it'll be big. But let me just show you what we want to do, and we'll do it. Okay? Matt, all right. Everybody with me so far?
Yeah, like what
Okay, so I have R squared. So is that, Madeline, is that, you think that's low, or you think that's a good, it's good? It's relatively low, so basically it would be good for my forecast. You can think about it at about more than 80% error that it can occur. Right, of going up or down. So we gotta try to find out and think about it. This is how my model really is. Does that look, AJ, does that look linear to you? Doesn't look like a straight line. Because the stock market, do you think that the stock market just doesn't go straight up? Or else there wouldn't be so much, all we have to do is put our money in and just retire. So what we want to do is we want to try to find another one. So I'm going to put my, Matt, you may want to, you know what a good idea is? Always don't sit by, other classes, in the test I'll say sit by yourself. But when we're doing these exercises, sit next to each other and help each other. Yes?
Which data do you want us to chart, the open or the?
I'm using the open. Let's all start with the open.
Okay.
And then later on, you know what? Evan, what'll be good is to see, hey, maybe if I start taking the close, my model can improve by taking the close rather than the open. Because a lot of trading is done early in the morning, right? Because when it opens, it may be more volatile. There may be different models, but let's all try the same. Then what we want to do, I want to go back and highlight those marks again. So just put your cursor. You see how it makes a little, like a little cross? I'm going to right click again. And what am I going to do then? I want to add another trend line. So what do I do, Madeline?
Add trend line.
Add trend line. Right, and in this case, I don't want to do linear. I've done linear already, and I've already seen that linear doesn't do a good job in basically even depicting what it is, let alone in forecasting. And why I'm doing this exercise is to show you these automated trading systems. What we want to do is, Sam, put in those rules so the computer can start doing it, and it can start improving, and then we can get PhDs in physics, and we can get super finance people and mathematicians around the world to help improve those algorithms to get it to be closer than 0.22, maybe to 0.90. And then later on, that our profits will be large and that our losses will be small. And that's where we'll make procedures quite quickly, but then we need our intelligence to improve it. So we're going to look at polynomial. Who's ever done polynomial equations? Evan, have you ever done polynomial? AJ? Okay, good. So you guys, maybe we can work with you so I can see. And this one really doesn't look any much better, right? This polynomial doesn't look any better. So what I want to do is I want to look at, in this case, I want to add a trend line. And instead of 2, let's see, let me click on the polynomial and let me increase it to 3, 4, or 5. Let me do the 6 and see what happens in 6. And then let me go forward 6 periods. And let me display the equation. And let me display the R square. And what's the R square of this one, Madeline? 0.9. 0.9. Now, is it a more complicated equation? Yes, it's more complicated. And later on, we'll be able to see in this one, my slope then is going to be then, when I'm going to look at it, we'll look to see whether I'm making money or not, but we know that's in the equation. Then what I want you to do, once I have my R square, I have this R square. I'm not going to use this one, so I'll delete the second one. So I'm going to delete that second one that I have, and then you can see, Sam, what do you think the trend's going to be?
Upward.
Upward. And then what we can do next week is, what would we want to do? What would be the next step next week? Is to verify what we'll have already what? Will we have the data for next week? On Monday we'll already have, when we meet, we'll have Monday's data, and we'll be able to see, was it accurate? Because even despite it is, and then we start modifying as we go along. So we have this in this part, and then if you look at the spreadsheet, so you have this, and here then I can add to it, I can say, then I can put then that I'm using, in this case I can make sure that I can put this chart, you can make it look a lot nicer. I can put here in Microsoft, I can put then, I can rename this and put the date then, besides Microsoft, I can put then the date, right, of Microsoft, and I can put the date then of that 9/13/18, right? I can put then the date. I made a mistake here. Rename it and change it.
It's the 12.
Yeah, and it's the 12. And it's dash. Thank you again. Extra credit for correcting. Okay. So what do I want you to do for Monday? What I want you to do for Monday is to create at least 2 or 3 charts on your own and create a little table here where you have a model, where you have poly, like for the 6th degree, the line, and you can put the R squares, and then you can put the equations, y equals, and you can put the equations in, and put the percentage gains you get from the linear to the polynomial. And then you upload it to your, make a folder, and we'll call the folder, we'll call it Excel forecast.
How do you make that chart that you made
How did I make it?
all the way to the right?
This one?
The one, no, the one all the way to the right, like model, poly.
I just wrote it.
Oh.
Just put it on the, it's not a chart. I
Yeah.
put the word model underneath the poly 6, underneath that line, and then I just used the formula, and then I just took the R square, right? Either you can copy it or you can, copy the R square, copy the line, and then for the gain, I could just use a formula for the gain, right? Yeah, it didn't do it on its own. But later on, we'll automate it, Matt.
I got it.
Got me? Good. And then you can make a chart, you can make it pretty. I'm just giving you the format. And then what I'd like you to do is upload it. Let's make everybody that's doing the audit area, make yourself, you can even do that right now, 1 per group. You can make yourself Excel forecasts as a folder. And then when you insert your folder, then basically what you can do is you can do a description, upload it as an item. So you can then put a description, the linear was this, the poly was this, the gain was here, and it's forecasted in 5 days or 6 days the trend looks like it's gonna go up. And you can do it for 2 or 3, each of you can do it for 2 or 3 companies and see which one looks like to be the best in terms of getting the R square. I think this may have been Apple that I had done. And notice, even in the linear, right, that the linear says I was going to get 51 cents, I guess, per share, and the R square was 0.66, better than ours, right? So you can pick any tech stocks that you kind of you'd like to work with. Since we're using technology now, pick any tech stocks, and then you can work together as a group, but each person do their own and help each other do
So
it.
each person needs to have their own one, but we can do it.
You do it together, but each of you at least have one. I would pick out a couple of those. And then later on, we'll start automating them. But before we can teach, what's the key here? Before we can teach, the computer needs to have an algorithm. We need to know manually what it needs to do. And then we'll start writing the rules. See that step by step. And that's what they talk about, those automated trading systems. And there are people in these groups that are called quant traders, and they basically help people write these rules. And they program them, and I told you they start at $200K. Start with commission. If their models are good, they get commission.
Wait,
But then you can work with the group, even if you're not the quant trader, you can bring in those groups, and you at least understand what those people are doing.
they get commission for creating the software?
What?
They get commission for creating the software?
But they're with groups, so let's say we're in a team. We do the software, right? And our strategy is doing great, and you're in that team, you get commission from that strategy. Right, because they're like a lot of times hedge funds and so forth. So you're like a sales commission, right? If you're done well, right? If you're making a lot of
For the
money,
strategy using the algorithm or whatever they're using.
right? They're doing the algorithm.
Have a good day.
Yes. So can you just make sure they're keep it on? Did you shut it off or what? Did you shut it off? Yeah. So let's just do the live. Just stop the live.
Yes, it's
Okay.
fine.
Okay,
just
great.
a question. I just like, I got a little, when I went
Yeah.
to do it originally, it started opening it with numbers and on Excel.
But
That's
now-
why, now I got it on Excel, that's why I missed a couple of things.
Okay,
when we got
perfect,
through.
so great.
So I had two
Okay,
lines.
okay, so which one did you get? So you did the order of, so, okay, so that's the linear,
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
that's
the,
a polynomial.
yeah, that
Okay.
was the, I don't, which one was the third one that you got?
No, no, that's good. So you have
This is
the, this is good. So you did the poly in 6 order. So that's it. So you got the model, poly and
Yeah.
gain. So now you're gonna do
How do I-
R, so here you're gonna do R square.
Which
But-
one?
No, just type R square. Or square, you can even do, okay, or R square, right? And then here you're gonna put you can do Y equal there. And then just put here, this is gonna be your poly 6, where's your poly 6, of what, what does that say, point?
969?
Yeah,
What's
966.
that?
Yeah,
What's
right.
that here, right?
Put it underneath.
Oh, here for,
Yes.
okay. 0.96.
Well, you need linear, you forgot linear.
Oh, should I put it in between?
Okay, yeah,
Right
put
here, so it's
linear, and then, yeah, but the
and
linear,
then gain.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll,
Yeah, and then there, you just bring that down. Yeah, perfect. And then the linear was what?
for the R,
Yeah,
6791.
what stop was it?
This is Apple.
Okay, good.
6791.
No, which is not bad either. So it looks like in the next 5 days, it seems this is very little up, kind of
Mhm.
flat, right? And this one seems to go, and then we can see, and then the gain is.
How do you
you're
find
going
that
to get,
number?
so you do equal. You're gonna take this, right, your poly,
This one?
yeah, just click on it, right, minus, and you click on that one, right, and enter.
0.2889. Should I like multiply 500 to get the percentage?
You
or is that-
could, either way, you're right, you can do it, you can do percentage, right, or you can do the percentage and then the Y, just bring in the formulas, right?
So this is the linear.
Yeah,
That's it.
and copy it. Perfect, and then you can, who's in your group?
Cody and Ben.
Okay, so
I
see
didn't
with
see
them.
that, I didn't see them today.
Yeah, so text them.
Yeah.
So it's important, since it's due on Monday,
Mhm.
text them and tell them that you can even do like a video conference with them, and you can share your screen
And show them.
and show them how.
Right.
And this way, you have it documented.
Right.
Hey, good to see you.
Do you have another class right now?
Yeah, at 6:30, but you
Okay.
can sit.
No, it's all good. I'll
No,
do
but
this.
it's
Yeah.
6:30, so we've got the, we're still,
Alright, thank you.
perfect. And then do it for others, and then do a little write-up of what, and get them to try for their couple of different stops. You understand, and with the others, and then we can kind of start thinking about what are the algorithms. What's your major again?
Finance.
So it's perfect, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And then we'll look at the Ninja Trader the
Uh-huh.
same way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
Perfect,
See you next time.
yeah. So how are you doing?
Doing well.
Okay, everything okay?
Yeah, everything fine. Last week was my brother's birthday. He just came down from New York, so
Did you celebrate?
yeah. But I heard about everything we did.
Good.
My group uploaded the.
So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do
Ninja Trader.
I'm gonna do Excel. Did we do
Okay.
Excel in the class
A
last
little
time?
bit, yeah. We were talking about
Did we do that, did we do it as a assignment?
no.
Okay, so we'll do Excel, we'll do some forecasting with Excel,
Okay.
and then we'll also do the Ninja Trader.
Okay, great.
Perfect. And then you can work with your group and, perfect, okay?
good. I mean, I'm familiar with,
Fine, I was wondering where you were.
with Excel, so,
Oh,
you know,
okay,
it's a
too
good
far.
view.
Okay, good.
With like the whole,
What?
automated,
Yeah,
treatment,
you're right.
like, that's, I mean, always good to know.
And it's such a good example
Oh, your
for all the
discussion was bad.
concepts. You know, they talk about big data.
Yeah.
What's better than big data? How much more big
Okay.
data can you get with
Well, I'll
training?
talk to you when you
know,
get
you
back.
can
Yeah.
get
Okay.
tick by tick, you can get
Every
minute by,
second, yeah.
every second, you can do daily, you can do years. Easy to get the data.
Yeah.
And then when they start talking about those automated systems, when they start talking about AI, nobody knows really what is artificial intelligence, but when you think about like these systems, and you think about the idea that the systems are gonna do the trading for you, and then people will just try to keep on improving it, and then the systems will try to keep on improving it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know what I mean? And that's where the new jobs are.
Yeah, a lot of money too.
A lot of money, but also, and the reason there's a lot of money is because, you have to be on top of it, but there's a lot, but those are gonna be the new jobs, because a lot of the traditional jobs will be just taken away. Those guys that are a broker that you're calling on the phone and say, place me your trade, or those guys that are visiting customers and saying, oh, I'll do, and visiting your parents or something, and saying, what should they do with their money? It'll be automatic trading systems, and just, there'll be people in the background writing the scripts for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the salesman will be selling the strategies. Rather than, and then it'll be a combination, but you gotta have smart people behind it, and then understanding, and then you have a team. So you'll have the strong people that say, oh, I think this is how a certain industry works. I really know healthcare. Or and then so you'll have physicians along with other people in the, so if you're in healthcare, you'll have a physician, you'll maybe have chemists in there, you'll have drug manufacturers, plus you'll have physicists, plus mathematicians, plus finance people. You know what I mean? But then you'll have that team, so you'll be able to evaluate and say, hey, fundamentally, this is a good stock, right? We know that they're gonna be able to, this is really gonna be important in immunotherapy or something. And within there, how are we gonna start doing the trading within that?
So that makes me another time to get out of your flow.
Why does it change? I thought the guy at work, he said, he's in charge of the busing, and how like busing is not a problem. So something is bound to change. It wasn't like, we're not like, yeah, they pay like $250 each time that happens, and there was like some busing that happened. Like, you just.
And then I have to look once like half of
Oh, hi. Oh, hey. You're here, huh? I know. I like the one who you were talking to. Yeah, and super science.
Yeah, I usually
I started laughing at the orders because they each got 2 coffees and a cake pop.
They got what?
2 coffees and a cake pop.
Wait, maybe I can miss this. This is my gummy bear.
No, just kidding. Here.
Ew.
I don't care.
Okay.
It's not like you like. I'm sweating. What's up?
Is it enlightening? I've got you, and I'm like, if you're not motivated to do it, have to.
No, I don't really. I just like.
I'm thinking, I read the first pictures, and like, I'll just see it.
It's really repetitive.
Yeah, it's a tiny acronyms too, are very confusing to me, so I was like, maybe I'll listen to what she says in class and then go look at their specific things and look at stuff.
But well, here's what I did. And I can send you these. So it kind of makes. I can lose. It's okay.
I'm assuming you outlined everything. If I read it, it's
So
usually,
you get it.
you do the fancy thing with maybe.
I'll do all of this.
Yeah.
If she said you can have this.
Yeah. That's what I'll probably do.
Hey.
Hi.
But I don't know if I have it.
Text them before the class, so like write down all those acronyms, don't worry.
No,
But
I
this
have
is
one
the
extra.
test,
Well,
right? Yeah, yours also, there's 2 tests. There's only 3 weeks, I think, and 1 time this semester.
So what are the tests are the one that I'm sure.
Yes, well, there's only 2 and 3 weeks.
Okay, there's like one test and that one. That like test counts like a highlight.
Yeah, but I don't think it's gonna work. My guess is it's only those like not this one.
But
Lack of sleep.
Brown?
like
Study.
but I can send it to you.
Yeah, I have a game test.
I failed that test.
Yeah,
No. That was so good. I
I
like
never
that.
liked that fucking
I like
subject.
chemistry. I hate
Over
chemistry.
at this guy?
Weren't you last week? Yeah, it's a grande. I have a math test tomorrow. What? Yeah, I was like half.
Huh?
I was like half of it.
And where's the other half though?
Try. I'm like driving.
You're making it too much. Hit that whole thing. The whole thing, come on. Have you ever had it before? Have you ever had it before?
Well, there's no way I can do that. I just like those. It's like good. You start craving it after a while.
Put sugar? That's what I think too. So,
If anything, I'll do sugar in the
a little
raw.
bit more.
See what the issue is.
You want milk?
Well, I didn't. You're funny. No, I just. Do you know sugar in the raw? In the raw. Is it brown sugar? What's sugar in the raw? It's like natural sugar. And no, it's different. It's called sugar. It's just it's like natural or something. And well, it like it goes to the bottom of the and then you suck it up and that's all. And chew on it. It's just so good. So sometimes when I'm having a bad day.
Yeah, I got sugar in there.
I wish. I don't have it at the Starbucks.
Did you buy it? Yeah. I think it's already live.
It is funny.
Yeah.
I can shut it off.